Sorry. All right. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. The time is now 4:35. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City. A copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin? Here. Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade? Here. Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullock?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
We have Resolution 160-04, 2026, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss the license of space on the ground and tower located at 830 Kenning House Lane in Cape May, New Jersey. If we have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes. Is anyone here wishing to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and go into closed session.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think there may be some urgency in discussing the Promenade project and just some final touches on that project. And City Manager Dietrich indicates that that's a time-sensitive matter. Probably would have liked to have that on the agenda, but I think he would like to provide council a brief on that issue. And that might be some additional item we want to add as a late addition to the closed session agenda. And if there's any outcome of that, we can address it after the meeting, if it's beyond a report.
Okay,
May I ask a question?
sure.
What category would that be under to be allowed to be in closed session?
It's a contract and a deliberative process, too.
I thought it'd be important to bring up.
Yes.
It's about a contract?
Contract
Okay,
negotiations.
okay.
Do we need to have an amendment or anything, Mr. Gillen?
I would just, if council, it's council's closed session, so if you're inclined to entertain the discussion, it would just be a motion to amend, to add that item as a discussion item to the closed session.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to amend, to add that item to the closed session.
Okay,
So is that a motion to amend?
yes.
A motion to, do I have a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay.
Roll, any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes, do we need to vote on the
Amended.
amended?
We need a motion to to approve the amended motion?
That is added,
It's
okay,
added, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Good.
Great, thank
Okay,
you.
time is 4:39 into closed session.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are coming out of a closed session, and we will be adding Resolution 187 to the regular agenda, and we'll cover that resolution when we get to it. So do I have a motion to close? Do I need a motion? We're adjourning. We're adjourning the special meeting and going into our regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. The time is now 5 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that the City of Cape May Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Mullock.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz.
Here.
City Manager Dietrich.
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner.
Here.
CFO Reed.
Here.
And City Auditor Costello.
Here.
All right, and do we have some additions and deletions tonight, Council? I am aware of two, if you'd like me to highlight those first. Possibly
Please.
three. Okay. So we do have the addition of 18704, 2026, a resolution reauthorizing an auction bid for lease of city-owned property known as a portion of Canning House Lane Water Tower, located at 830 Canning House Lane in Cape May, New Jersey. If there's a motion to add.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
And there is a recommendation to remove Resolution 16404, 2026. It's a resolution authorizing a contract to CME. That is actually duplicative of another resolution that's already listed on the consent agenda. So it's just the award of contract is on there twice. So if council's comfortable, we can, you guys can remove 164 from the agenda.
Is that 184 that you're
No,
referencing?
164.
No, I know, but
So
Yeah,
once-
184 is the duplicate, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, the 184 is like the correct one, 164.
I'll make the motion to remove that, Mayor.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
And if I could request to remove 163, that's authorizing the required disclosure award to DKC Contractors for landscaping services. We're going to break that contract up and bring this one back to you later in the summertime after we've looked at our seasonal hires for the year. But we won't proceed with it until it gets to a higher dollar value under the statute. So that one could be removed, please.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade? Yes. Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
Any other additions or deletions, Council?
I think that's
Okay.
it.
Moving on to the 2026 municipal budget.
Okay.
So it's a public hearing. I do the public hearing first.
You want to do the public hearing first before the by title?
Yes.
Okay.
No, by title first.
By title first,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with 16104, 2026, resolution authorizing the reading of the 2026 annual municipal budget by title only.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
And moving on to the public hearing on the budget, Mayor?
Is anyone here wishing to speak on the 2026 municipal budget? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Just to be clear, that's going to be a motion to adopt 16204, 2026, resolution adopting the 2026 municipal budget. Okay. Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So that was the same budget you introduced, nothing changed. Lauren has done an unbelievable job since she's been here, getting everything cleaned up, and you're on a good course. The state had a bunch of really nonsense comments that she answered all of them, and we're approved for everything, so you're
Well, that's
officially
great.
done.
Leon, thank you very much. For those who don't know who Leon is, he is our auditor and has done a great job every year for us for, I don't know how many years, Leon, but a long time.
30-some.
30-some.
He was right out of high school when he started.
Yeah. And Lauren, thank you. You've done a great job. And I do want to thank all of our department heads. I know everybody didn't probably get exactly what they want, but thank you for working with Lauren, with our city manager and our deputy city manager, our CFO. I know you all worked very hard on this, so thank you very much. Okay?
Well, I just want to say also, it's a testament to just how wonderful a team you are, that you all showed up here tonight. So
Yeah,
we certainly appreciate it.
yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
You.
On to updates or old business. City manager?
Thank you. First, I'll just give a quick update. We have a lot of projects going on, and we're trying to kind of fastly move them here to get some of them buttoned up for summertime. The sanitary sewer projects, they've been paving. They'll be finished paving, base paving Illinois Avenue this week. They're still doing some lateral installations on Idaho and Stockton Place, but they're fast moving that. If you were out on Beach Avenue, they were paving from Cove. They got paved probably up, I don't know how close they got to Lifeguard headquarters this afternoon, but I know that they were shooting to get just past Lifeguard headquarters today, and then tomorrow they'll finish it. So after, obviously tomorrow, all of the promenade will have a new asphalt surface coat on it, and now we're just going to have to wait till they do the paint coating on top of the promenade, the asphalt surface, and then we're going to put the benches back up on the promenade. I know a lot of people have been asking for when they're coming back, but we're shooting, based on the time frame of when we have to let that cure, it's looking like maybe the first or second week in June, most likely, that all the benches should be back up on the promenade for everybody to enjoy. And I know we're going to make the announcement. Lifeguard headquarters, I really appreciate council putting that on the fast track to kind of get that done. The contractor's done a yeoman's job of working through the cold weather and getting this done. And we're anticipating a ribbon cutting May 1st. So a week from this Friday, everybody hope to come out there and see that ribbon cutting there, and just moving these projects along as fast as we can. We have several projects that we're kind of kicking off. So we have 2 projects for next year, the first phase of the desalination water treatment plant, and another sewer project for next year. So a lot of projects that are going to continue to move forward. And that's all I have for this evening. Oh, one other thing. So we are going to start posting some social media. The school board has been working on their consolidation study. I know they had a presentation last night over at West Cape May Elementary. On the 22nd, they're going to be having a presentation at Cape May Elementary. That's looking for public input. So encourage all residents to attend that meeting if you can, to give your input on that consolidation study. They're not going to present any of their findings, so don't go there thinking they're going to be telling you what's going on. They're going to tell you about what the study is looking to do, and then they're looking for public comment about the study. They're anticipating having to give a report to both communities on June 11th at the Lower Township Regional High School. That's where they will present their findings to both communities at a joint meeting. There again, that's on June 11th at the Lower Township Regional High School. So I just wanted to make sure all the residents were aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I thank you to the residents on Illinois Avenue and a couple streets over in Village Green that have been, it was held up by the snow, which it's easy to forget now, but that snow stayed on the ground for like 3 weeks there. But they're getting it done, and well before Memorial Day. So, thank you. All right. On to our city solicitor. Any updates or old business?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City council, any updates or old business? Okay. Thank you.
If I could, I just want to say thank you for all the department heads, employees
Yeah.
coming out. I know that they have families and dinner they want to get to, so I know we're having a presentation from MTRAC right now, so if you want to take this opportunity time to skedaddle, this would be a good transition time while they transition up for this presentation if you're
Thank you
looking to
all
leave.
for
And I do
coming.
appreciate you guys coming. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
Not that I wanted to take all the audience for Martin and his presentation away, but I just thought that was...
We're still,
All right. All right. Yeah.
you've cleared the room, Martin.
Martin, now we got to figure out how we're going to pay for that budget. So why don't you come on up and help tell us how we're.
The table went that way.
Oh, where did it go? Okay.
I assumed law enforcement was here because I was talking about parking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before I start, I
But
wanted
Martin,
to just,
before you start, could I just say thank you to all of MTRAC, Dennis. Thank you for all the hard work that you all do, and we very much appreciate all the hard work.
yeah, that's actually where I wanted to kick off was this is my first presentation to council since I took over as chair about a year ago. So I wanted to thank Dennis Crowley for laying the groundwork for what MTRAC does. We wouldn't be able to do what we do today or in the future if Dennis hadn't been very brave in the way that he and his committee went forward with their recommendations, some of which were adopted, some of which were thrown into the trash bin, but all were valued.
Recycling. It may come back.
One of Dennis's favorite quotes is that it's not MTRAC's job to be liked. I'm probably going to follow that example tonight in talking about parking fees. So without getting too much ahead of myself, let me get into that. I am on the clock, but questions from council don't count towards the 5 minutes. So feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. So on slide 2, we took our information using AI, and then also I visited the different city municipal websites. 2 things. One was ChatGPT did not pick up on the fact that Stone Harbor announced an increase in parking rates in January. I don't know why AI would not have picked that up, but I missed it in the first go-around, picked it up in the second. So that's a part of what we're talking about today. And also, I was really surprised that most of the municipalities in Cape May County do not have any information on their websites about parking. They have tons of information about how to use Park Mobile, but they don't disclose what their rates are or what their practices are. It's a little bit odd, but one of the things that we noticed as we were doing the work. Next slide, please. Why is parking such an issue? I think that Cape May is unique in some ways in terms of seeing parking as such a serious issue. There are books written on parking. I actually did listen to one. It was pretty entertaining, actually, but then that's indicative of probably my personal life. But one of the quotes that I took from it that stuck with me even before we started to do this is a comment about the American public in general. We expect parking to be immediately available, directly in front of our destination, and most importantly, free. And it's not Cape May, that's universal. People have been killed over arguments about parking spots. It's an incredibly volatile topic, and any changes that municipalities make to their parking rates generally meets with very strong opposition. We're seeing that right now in Stone Harbor. We're seeing that right now in Diamond Beach. I hope that our suggestions are not quite as controversial, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next slide, please. Our own Jules Roush's father worked for the company that invented the parking meter back in Oklahoma City. And their mission in installing parking meters for the first time, it was actually the result of an engineering study that wanted to figure out how to get the spots to turn over. That's why we have parking meters. That's why we do what we do. We want the most popular spots to not be occupied by people for very long periods of time. We want them to be in, take care of whatever business they have in the business district, and then leave, so that spot can be turned over to someone else. Yes, revenue has become a very important component, especially there are private companies that make an awful lot of money off of parking. If you've gone to the airport with your cars recently, you know how expensive parking is at the airports, at sporting events, at theater events. It can be very expensive. So there is definitely a revenue component to it. But I think that we can't go into this thinking that revenue is the reason that we're suggesting making parking changes. There are other benefits that come from changes in the parking fees. We also know that the population of cars in the United States has exploded. I'm old enough to remember we only had one car. Many families, I'm sure, you only had one car. Last count, I think we had 5 for the 3 of us. Of course, one was a race car, but that's besides the point. It's something that it affects the parking situation because families come down here or families live here. They don't have 1, 2, in many cases, even 3 cars. Many of the rental properties, there'll be 4 or 5 cars, and the driveway is not made to contain 4 or 5 cars. All those extra cars have to find some place to park. I think this was important for the next slide, please. I think the historical perspective was important for the public to understand what's happened in the past. In 2019 through 2021, we made a series of changes, and nothing has changed in terms of the fee structure since. So the fees haven't moved in 5 to 7 years, and like any fee that doesn't move, it will no longer continue to be as reflective of the cost to provide as it was 5 years ago. So the issue of whether it's time to raise fees or not is definitely conditioned by the length of time that it's taken. I want to point out, in the interest of time, one of the changes that started this was in 2019. We put in what's called in the industry performance pricing, meaning that we established a parking rate near the mall that was twice the rate that it was in the rest of the city. At the time, the rest of the city was, all the metered parking was $1, and we raised it to $2. The reason for that was to get those spots, as I said earlier, to turn over. Now, the next year, during the COVID era, where parking revenue was down significantly, the city did increase the rate at the rest of the meters to $1.50. That shrunk the differential between the performance pricing and the regular meeting rate, which we think had an impact on the way that parking is utilized today. Next slide. What we did was we took, and this is an eye chart, I apologize. I wanted to make sure that the information was in there on all of the different towns in Cape May County. As we look at this, to those that have had the opportunity to review it, there's little commonality city to city. That parking meters are in effect, where they're in effect, the pricing, it's all very different. And that's reflective of the fact that every municipality has its own needs for parking. What Stone Harbor needs is different from what Avalon needs. What Cape May needs is different from what Wildwood needs. It's still relevant because people do make the decision to visit Cape May, not just on how much parking costs. There are many other factors, but it is one of the factors. So there will be comparison in visitors' minds. How much does it cost to park in Cape May, and how available is parking versus in neighboring towns?
Can I just make one point on that, just to, not to highlight a specific town personally, but you know, a couple of them have a pretty big width in regards to percentage. If you were to look at the cost of the city of Cape May, $3 to $5 is a pretty big width. And what I recognize in that is most of the prime locations that you would typically be parking in are the $5 parking spots. I mean, I don't even know where some of the other smaller amounts are, I just bring that,
It's distance from the beach.
right.
So it's the opposite of what we do, right? We have our most expensive parking near the business district, so
Right.
does Stone Harbor, okay? In the Wildwoods, it's the beachfront.
Right.
That's the attraction in the Wildwoods. What does Wildwood not charge for?
Beach tags.
Right.
So if you're going to the beach for the day, okay, sure, your beach tag is free, but you're paying $5 an hour for parking. The takeaway point at the bottom, I think, is the critical one. The average of the 6 towns that charge for parking is $2.75. The median is $2. And again, we are at $2 near the mall and $1.50 elsewhere. What's summarized on this slide is many pages, actually, of information on our website about parking. We make the information readily available. There's a link right on the homepage so that you can find out everything you want to know about parking. What we did note in reviewing it is that the seasons are different in different parts of town. The hours are different in different parts of town. And what we have seen from social media is a significant amount of consternation, I guess is the right word, among visitors, because they don't know whether, after October 31st, they don't know whether they have to pay for parking or not. And I have to pay here, I don't have to pay there, I got a ticket over here, I didn't realize it was still on. So our visitors are frustrated, in my opinion, in MTRAC's opinion, are frustrated by the fact that we do have some of these differentials, and that will factor into one of our recommendations coming up. Next slide. Okay, so as MTRAC looked at the issues, one of the things that we saw in doing our research were that back in 2019, when performance pricing was put in, the loudest objections were from the business owners that said that we would be discouraging people from visiting the Cape May Business District. We now have the benefit of 20/20 hindsight, and the opposite is actually true. Our business district is more popular than it's ever been, meaning that the demand for parking is higher than it's ever been. Interestingly, the exact same thing is happening in Stone Harbor. They're increasing their rate to $2, and it's the business owners that are saying that it's going to kill Stone Harbor's business. Now, whether that's true or not, Stone Harbor is a different business than Cape May, but generally speaking, higher parking in a business district encourages the turnover of spots, which is good for their customers. It's good for their business. Their customers come in, they're less frustrated. They were able to find parking easier, so they aren't in a bad mood when they walk in the door and try to decide whether to buy something or not. The 2020 increase to $1.50 from $1 eroded a lot of the intent of the performance pricing. We are waiting to get information from Park Mobile on average length of stay in different zones and the maximum length of stay. Our hypothesis is for 50 cents an hour more, I'm going to park on Carpenter Lane if I'm going to the beach, if that's the first spot that I can find. And we don't want people parking on Carpenter Lane that are going to the beach for 6 hours. We want that spot to turn over 2 or 3 times. The way that I'm thinking about the takeaway point is $1 is not always $1. It may be $1 of revenue, but $1 more that gets a parking spot to turn over more often is worth more than $1 to the businesses in the city of Cape May. We want that spot to turn over. And if we can get even one more turnover in just 10% of the spots in town through the recommendations that I'm going to be presenting in a moment, that's the equivalent of having 5% more parking spots in the city of Cape May. That's the way the math works. So it is an important objective to try to understand what it is that we're trying to do with our parking fees, and it's not just about the revenue. So what is Amtrak recommending? We believe it's time for the city to increase the metered rate, and when I say meter, I mean Park Mobile and the kiosks, to $2 per hour. That's a 33% increase, but it hasn't increased in 6 years. So it's actually 5% a year on a compounded rate, which is about what labor costs have gone up over the course of the 5 years. So there's a relationship there. 33% is 50 cents an hour. 33% sounds like a lot, but the reality is it hasn't changed in 6 years. So that we have to take that into consideration. The other thing is that Amtrak originally considered $1.75, but we realized that's impractical with coin meters. You can't have each 25 cents be worth 8 hours and 34 seconds. It's just not something that is going to be able to be understood by the public. So we almost, because we continue to use a lot of coin meters, we're almost locked into going, just as we did from $1 to $1.50, going from $1.50 to $2 because of the way that the meters are programmed, the way the mechanism works. It's still very consistent with local practice. The $2 would put us right smack in the middle of the 7 beach towns that charge for parking. We are suggesting that we restore the performance pricing premium. Now, the slide says 2x because that was what we did originally. And Amtrak believes that 2x is probably the right multiple to change behavior. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to collect $4 an hour. We're trying to differentiate the parking at the mall from the parking in the rest of the town. The rest of the town would still be at, as we mentioned, $2. So there's still plenty of places for people to park if they are willing to walk 2 blocks. But if they want to park close to their destination, we want to make sure that those spots are there for them. And in order to ensure that that happens, it's necessary to charge more. Once we have the data, I think that we could see a different answer. Again, our hypothesis is we're going to see people that are parking at the mall for 6, 7 hours at a time, 8 hours at a time, which is not what we want in terms of our parking availability. If we see that that's not true in the data and that people truly are already deciding to vacate those spots, maybe it's a different recommendation. But for the time being, the placeholder is the $2, and I'll be working with the city manager on the data so that we can come to a conclusion when we actually do have that information. And then we did suggest that the surface lots be increased. They haven't been increased in 5 years, and there's a waiting list, meaning that demand exceeds supply. So anytime that happens, it generally supports increasing the cost. We didn't really have hard data to be able to do the mathematics, but I've done some back of the envelope calculation, and I think it's pretty conservative. We can predict that this is about 2 cents on the property tax that would offset 2 cents of increase in the property tax, relatively conservatively. Again, it depends on what the city decides to do, but we'll work together again when we have more information to be able to calculate that with greater precision. We suggested that the overall structure be simplified where we can do so without significant pushback. The two that we are suggesting is to have all the meters go to December 31st. That eliminates that confusion for the 2 months. It would have minimal impact on homeowners and on employees of businesses. They would simply have to continue to do what they do from April 1st through October 31st for 2 more months. But the way that visitors will perceive the city with less confusion, in our opinion, is positive. There are sections of the city that are 10 to 6 and sections that are 10 to 5. Let's just make it all 10 to 6. We thought about 10 to 10, but there's areas of the city that wouldn't benefit from making it 10 o'clock at night. And then once coin meters are eliminated, and we encourage that happens sooner versus later, then we can make annual or biennial adjustments to the parking rates. So we don't wind up with this 33% increase scenario, which I'm sure when we get feedback on the recommendations will be, that's a huge increase. Again, it's 50 cents. It's not a big increase, it's a big percentage because we can only change them in multiple years. And then finally, this will help, in our opinion, if these recommendations are enacted, but it's not the answer. We haven't solved the parking problem. We have to continue to look at it, and MTRAC is anxious to be able to play a part in that in terms of being able to come up with funding for whatever solutions we do come up with for longer term. Any questions?
Once you get those estimates back about the times the different zones are going to be used, when do you plan on, when do you want council to act on some of these recommendations? Not before summer, clearly, right?
Can I?
Please.
Let me just jump in. So I think based on some of the analysis and talking with MTRAC and Deputy Mayor McDade, I think that I would ask council to make a recommendation on the basic premise that Martin discussed is, let's look at making $2 an hour the standard rate throughout the city. Let's implement that now, because that's an easier conversation point to have. I think some of the other issues and are worthy discussion about whether we expand the zones, changing some of the timing of the zones, the performance pricing of the zones. I think that's going to take, a deeper discussion with council and a broader network to see where we would want to land on that. But I think from a budgetary standpoint and an operational standpoint, we're still at the beginning of the season, so I think to make things operational, while we figure some of those other issues out, to look at implementing a 50-cent increase to $2 an hour for parking throughout the city.
I think it's important too, because that data we have is the comparison to the other municipalities. So that is solid information to form and make our decision upon. The other, I agree with Mr. Dietrich, talking about performance parking, needing that data a little bit more, variables for parking in the mall business district from a price point, et cetera. Having consistency on the times.
5 and 6?
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. I mean, I think everyone, those are other things that we can work through over the next couple of months, but the comparison to the municipalities is clearly here in the chart and demonstrates the information and the fact that we haven't increased these in the past 6 years.
I was just going to add that. That's
Yeah,
the second
thanks.
factor, is how long it's been. The third factor is it's a compound rate of 5%. That is not unreasonable. Our labor costs have gone up at least 5%, all in, fully loaded, right? So I see the $2 as simply keeping pace. I will say, though, that I would be careful about not raising the mall rate and having them be the same, because we will build behaviors very quickly where now people that don't park at the mall will start to park at the mall. And that's a behavior that we don't want to reinforce.
That's what I was going to try to say. I think it's important, if we're going to raise everything to $2, we should just do it at $4, because, like, Mr. Van Walsum said that we don't want people parking with their coolers to go to the beach around the mall. I mean, and we're not doing our job to the business owners if we allowed that.
What we can soft pedal is that the ordinance does actually require, have a maximum of 3 hours in the business district. And my understanding is that that's not really enforced.
It's not enforced.
I would soft pedal that.
Yeah, and I agree. I would like to see that more information from Park Mobile
Correct.
before we made that decision.
Right.
But I'm in support of, if we're going to do this for the summer, keep it simple.
Thank you, Shane. Councilman Meyer.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you for all your work, Martin. Any other questions? Please thank all the rest of the committee as well. Thank
Sure,
you.
and I'll hang around for public comment if the public has any questions.
Thank you.
So I guess just to follow up, does council want to make a recommendation so I can work with Chris on coming back at the next meeting with a ordinance recommendation? I think, we tried, so last year, we expanded, I'll say, if you look at the parking zone, the yellow zone, which was traditionally first just around the mall, but last year we expanded it down to the beachfront and then down, to include Congress to Ocean Street along Beach Avenue. So we kind of expanded that zone, which then does include, I'll say, some of the beachfront areas. So I think if we go to performance pricing, we might want to, I guess, potentially look at remodifying those zones. Or do you want to look at remodifying those zones so that that yellow zone is pulled back into, I'll say, that the old nucleus of the mall, and then we would just expand the beachfront zone. I just put that up there just because, when we talked about performance pricing around the mall, it was looking at, and the synergy was the nucleus of the mall, but really it's, Beach Avenue from Congress really all the way up to Gurney on Beach Avenue. So it does have a big stretch on Beach Avenue.
City Manager, can I suggest and would ask for 2 volunteers to work with you on that ordinance with the solicitor?
For the
perhaps
next meeting?
Mr. Meyer? and-
I'd be happy to do it.
and-
Yes.
So if Mr. Meyer and
Just to work out those kind of,
yeah, and then work on that ordinance with the solicitor to bring back to council? And of course, with M-Track?
okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you again, M-Track and Martin, of course. Thank you. Dennis, go, where are we at? Why don't you, as part of the presentation, you want to, yeah.
Before I start. Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street. I'm speaking here as a member of the community of Cape May, a private citizen, and I carry no brief for any body or any council or any committee except myself. But I do want to tell you that the planning board has recently issued the report of a study that the planning board did to look at the very issue of parking, and not from the M-Track perspective, which is fiscal and operational on a year-to-year basis, but it was really based, I think, on the contents and the recommendations of the master plan. And not to belabor it too much, but I will tell you this: the single most difficult hurdle to deal with parking in the city is we have to know clearly what the parking situation is. We have to know what the city's capacity to meet that parking demand, and we have to figure out ways to actually accommodate parking as the city grows and grows every year. The recommendation from the planning board, which was unanimously adopted, was that the city commission a study to once and for all get a clear, comprehensive set of data on what the parking situation is in Cape May. The last study that was done on this issue was 2001. That's 25 years ago. I think that this is the missing piece of the problem, because unless we know clearly what our parking load is and what our capacity is and what we can do to make it easier to park in Cape May, that's a planning responsibility. That's not operational, that's not fiscal, that's planning. So I would urge the council to get a hold of that report and try and act on it as soon as possible. It would require hiring a professional study to come in and do that data collection. But I personally believe there's probably a couple of dollars left somewhere in a fund.
And so that was discussed when we formulated the budget, the budget that was presented to council. Unfortunately, that study didn't make, I'll say, the cut for what we're going to include in this year's budget, and so maybe we'll look at it for next year's budget. But
Okay.
it was considered, but unfortunately, as it bounced between my office and the council's review, that was not included in this year's budget.
And I would suggest that the sooner we get a hold of a comprehensive analysis of our quote-unquote parking problem, we'll be scrambling every year with rates and zones and times without ever addressing the real problem, which is people every year love Cape May more and more and more, and they're all coming down here to enjoy this town. If we can't accommodate them, they may not come. They probably will anyway, but they'll complain. But the idea is that we have a responsibility as a city to make sure that the people that we invite into our town have a place to park and have an experience that's going to be enjoyable for them, and not something they'll take home and complain to their neighbors about. I want to commend Justin, who has helped out on that study as well. So thanks again, and please give that study some serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you
I have
very
a
much,
question.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Maybe the manager or even a chief of police could help answer this. Is there a way we can find out how many cars come in and out of the town through the license plate readers?
We were having that discussion, so we're looking at that. I mean, the discussion, though, is we have to combine it with the West Cape May Bridge, so you have to look at both, and then you truly don't, we can look at it, maybe what's coming in and out Cape Island wide.
Right.
It's not going to give us what's hitting Cape May City. So, because the travel, you go between both bridges, we would never know exactly how many are in Cape May City, but we can probably come up with, hey, how many are coming and going on Cape Island
I mean,
as a
you'd
whole.
have to have another one on Elmira and Broadway to have a really
You'd,
better idea.
you'd have to have a dozen
Perry.
of them
Yeah.
to do that.
Can I ask a quick follow-up question as well?
This is a good general start, though.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
it.
And there was mention about this 2001 study. I'm assuming that you have that. Is there any way you could,
No, that 2001 study would have no bearing.
I
or-
know it wouldn't, but if we, could you circulate that to the council, just so we have,
I wouldn't even want to circulate to you because it would have no value to you whatsoever, except maybe to kind of look at how you're going to model a new study, but any data in there is so outdated, it's not worth reviewing.
okay,
It truly isn't.
okay.
I mean, I'd be happy to give it to you, and if you want to read it, that's fine, but I just would caution you as a professional engineer and as a professional planner, it will have of no value to what is happening today.
At least it could give us possibly, where we were then, and we have an idea of where we kind of need to go. But,
Yeah.
okay,
But I can look for it, but I don't think it'll have any true value.
Maybe
for you.
see things that were implemented and weren't or whatever, but,
Or to
So-
change
Okay.
trends.
okay. With that, on to ordinances for introduction.
We have 601-2026, an ordinance amending the City of Cape May Code and establishing procedures and regulations for memorial program.
Mayor, if I could.
Yes, please.
So we worked on this, obviously, when we were working on the replacement of the memorial benches on the promenade, we obviously quickly realized that to move forward with any new memorial program, we needed to have clear, established procedures and guidelines and to set true expectations for the people that were wanting to create a memorial for a loved one. So this ordinance sets up both a memorial program for benches and for trees, and establishes how we would establish costs, mechanisms for where we would place them for location, and timeframes and procedures, that it really documents everything. I mean, a lot of it is modeled on how we kind of implemented and gave forms out for the replacements of the memorial bench program on the promenade. But, I think we've gone through this. I think we've vetted this with the subcommittee when we kind of worked on that program. We kind of waited to implement this program and bring this back to ordinance. One was we wanted to get all the responses back from the memorial bench people that we wanted to find out how many people wanted to renew on the promenade and how many people were not. We think there's about 100 out of the 440 benches that were on the promenade that aren't going to renew. We've already had a waiting list before we started this project and process, but we felt that at this time, moving into the season, and we're getting close to the benches going back up on the promenade, that this was the appropriate time to bring this program, present it to council so that we can kind of continue that program and move it forward.
And having been involved in this program from the beginning, I think it's a good way, and Mr. Gillen Schwartz was very helpful in constructing sort of the parameters. So we had something in writing, very clear, that when people were signing up, they understood sort of what the rules were, so that we didn't find ourselves in a situation of trying to go back years later and explaining really what was intended. So along with this, there's an operational guide, at least on the program, on the promenade benches and the other benches, that Casey Radigan and her team are utilizing. So I think it's wonderful that we've got this being presented going forward.
I'll just add too, just in the drafting of it, this framework is pretty consistent with what you would see in some of our national parks, some of our state parks, some of our neighboring towns. So this is a framework that is pretty familiar, and if you just did a quick Google search of different types of programs, you're going to see some common themes that are in this draft. And that was on purpose, so that it's in line with what's already out there.
Great. Do I have a motion to introduce ordinance 601?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin. Yes. Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right, moving on to public portion on the resolutions only, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on resolutions on the agenda this evening? Anyone on resolutions on the agenda?
Mayor, if I could, just before,
Mr. Roush.
as Mr. Roush is coming up, and I forgot to bring this up during my report, the manager's monthly department report, I apologize, it did not go out with the agenda packet. I got tied up at the end of last week. I emailed it out to council this afternoon. I will talk to Casey and get it up post it online later this week, but I do apologize. I know it's listed on there, but just due to some timing constraints and issues that came up at the end of the week, I wasn't able to get it in the packet on there, but I will have it up on the website this week.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Roush.
Thank you. Good evening. Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. Just as a comment, I grew up with parking meters. They were all over our home. My father used to go out to so many meetings making presentations.
The shower? Or?
It was unbelievable. With one sad experience, the parking meters were developed by Ted McGee and Jerry Hale, and Jerry Hale was killed in an airplane accident that hit the bridge in Washington, D.C. many, many years ago. But that's just an aside. I'd like to comment on Resolution 17004, 2026. I'm concerned about the consumption of alcohol on closing the streets, but really I'm concerned about the reverse of it. The closing of the streets in our community with the traffic that we are now generating is a potential serious issue. And I think we need to really decide, are we going to just open up a number of these? Or is this going to be a limited event? Is it going to be done during certain times of the year? I think before you just jump ahead and just grant things without having an idea of a plan, I think is a bit dangerous, because once you start to approve them, there's going to be another one and another one and another one. And where do you stop? And what streets do you decide are advantageous to close, and which ones are actually a danger? So I make that comment because I think it's a serious issue. Not the least of which is the cost. We don't really cover our costs when we have some of these special events. We have an ordinance that says that we're supposed to get back and become whole on the events, but we continually defer and make exceptions. So it's I think it's something that you should not just grant permits without having a plan and a serious look at what you want to do, how many you're going to do them, when you're going to do them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I could just speak to that, because I want
There is-
the public to know that on each of these special event applications that end up in front of council, have, especially like one like this one, had 2 or 3 meetings with a lot of different staff, my staff, convention hall staff, the police department, the fire department, public works, the clerk's office. It's been vetted, we've talked about it, we've looked at a lot of the operational things, and to make sure, a lot of times what you see is scaled down significantly from what is asked because of the input of all the various offices and departments, and we are looking at safety and those things. On an application like this, we are recovering 100% of our costs.
$2,500, to $2,550, right?
An estimated 25.
Estimated.
That's the estimated cost, and,
Yeah.
and that's looking at, hey, what our Public Works needs to do to drop off recycling containers and then pick up the trash after the event, the number of police officers
Go-
that we
go ahead,
have
Mr.
scheduled
Roush.
on there. So we've looked at that, we've analyzed it, and, that's our normal procedure. I'll say 90% of the special events that occur in the city never have to come here because they fall under the guidelines and they follow all the rules. This one is really here because of the alcohol in the street
And this is
issue.
Decatur Street, just to be clear.
This is Decatur, so it's not on,
Not
not on
Beach Avenue.
Beach, it's a small portion. We looked at it, it's early in the season, so it's not the high level of season. So we've looked at all those things. I mean, if this application was coming in for 4th of July weekend, no, we're not looking
Right.
at doing that. We had an event earlier in March that we did close down Beach Avenue. It was earlier in March. I think we had fairly good success with that, between our police department, fire department, all of our emergency services, Public Works, and that event, we managed it well, and
Can I-
it
can I
worked out
actually-
well, so.
Can I ask Chief about that in a moment, how that event went, I'll give you some time, Chief, but, because I do, history obviously should tell us, what we want to do in the future.
That's the point.
Yes,
We're creating a new animal every time there's an application. We don't have what I think of as a concise plan as to how you approach these and have the answers before the application comes before you.
I think we do, because I think we look at each application as they come in, and we have a very good review of these applications. I think we have very good staff that take these things very seriously. I mean, we've had applications where the applicant came in and wanted to close down the full streets and have alcohol all the way out in the streets, and we said, oh, that's too much. We pushed them back and said, we'll let you have the sidewalk. And, so we've worked with applicants, and I think we do have a procedure to do that. I think we do.
Well, from the public's perspective, we don't see that. And I understand what you're saying.
And that's why I think I wanted to add a little more explanation to assure the public that those things are reviewed and are considered, and we do take it very seriously, that we want the public to be safe, we want good events, and, obviously, safety is the most paramount thing. Chief, I'm sure Chief will go up and speak here in a second on, safety, and that's, between Chief Ashaw and Chief Coulter, that's, they're not going to get their sign off unless they know that we can protect both our residents, the people who are going to be there, and have a safe event for everyone. That's the paramount question.
And Mr. Roush, we did go to a pretty substantial effort, in my mind, to codify both the use of public facilities and these special events, to identify what the city's priorities are when these things come in, liability, cost recovery, the planning and execution, and the public safety aspects all being incorporated, and making sure that all those department heads and officials have a say before it's just, here you go, here's your event. There's a lot of background that goes on, and the public may not see that on the day-to-day, but you can look very much into the language of the ordinance to see what the city's priorities are when these applications come in. So there is a lot of, going through the meat grinder before the event permit is issued, and that's reflected in the ordinance.
Just one question. Paul, in your calculations, do you use the number of square footage that the applicant is going to use? In other words, how much of the public space are they going to use, and do they actually pay for the rental of that space?
I could help speak to that if you
Yeah, I don't,
So it's not, no, it's not necessarily the amount of space that they utilize. It's the cost incurred to the city in response to this event. Do you need police officers there to monitor? If so, you're paying for the police officers. Do you need extra trash and recycling? If so, you're paying for those employees to go and do an extra pickup of trash and recycling. Are there parking meters being bagged? In this case, I do believe they are. They are paying for the parking meter for the full of that day. So all of that is taken into consideration, and we give an estimate of what we think they are going to pay, and then obviously at the end of the event, we have a final number that they reimburse the city for the cost incurred. So it's not necessarily like, oh, you're closing down 20 feet of space. They're not renting the street, we're just, any cost incurred by the city is covered by the applicant in this
Well, that's
case.
just making us whole for our expenses. However, the real estate is another factor, that there should be a rental for the amount of square footage that they are using to make a profit. We in effect own that area that they're going to be renting. So I just throw that as a sideline, having been in that business a little bit. I understand the value of occupying someone else's property and whether there is a value attached to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roush. Chief, just a quick review on the St. Patrick's Day celebration, if you would.
Yeah, we're a few years deep with St. Patrick's Day plunge race.
Right.
And that event there, we have ran it multiple ways, shutting the street down. This was the first time we shut the entire street down and locked it down. And it was at the request of the Carney Foundation, Carney's Cares. We found that if we didn't shut the street down in that certain area at this time of year where there's not a lot of traffic,
Right.
people are crossing the street there haphazardly, they're walking here, and then we had some complaints that people were blocking the boardwalk, the promenade. So, it was kind of a give and take. The area was fenced off properly by the No Limits Academy. We had proper connections on each end of the block where alcohol was not exiting that property. We had guards on each end of it. They were supplied by Carney's Cares. Some of it was monitored by the police department. We had physical barricades, both that we borrowed from the county, not rented. There was no cost incurred there, borrowed from the county for vehicle ramming devices. We had command staff there. We had the fire department there, properly vetted. The event went well, other than the wind.
Okay.
It was a cold day, but outside of that, the event went well, and I think it's probably the way that event should continue if it's going to be asked and answered.
Right.
Those costs are definitely reimbursed by that foundation and back to the city. As far as any costs that are incurred there, the same thing with this one that's being presented by Taco Cabalito.
Right.
They did ask for Beach Drive. I told them at that time we kind of let's start small and move forward. And I don't disagree with Jules. Maybe a timing. I'm not shutting Beach Drive down past July 4th. Not happening. Impossible. That May number is probably the optimal number of as far as months are concerned.
Only National Night Out.
Only National Night Out. You're right. So, and that's when that one too has been questioned a couple different times. So,
No, I mean, it's
but
amazing.
It definitely has. But
Incredible.
there's a plan at some
Yeah.
point to move it back to Lafayette Street Park when this council has completed that project. That was always the offering back. We love it on the beachfront, but we want to bring it back to where it originally started at Lafayette Street Park. And that will happen at some point, or maybe we'll flip-flop on the days. This current event is
Maybe I'll
being-
be at the new police station.
Yeah, I'll just watch it from the roof.
Yeah, that's it.
Or we'll have it in the parking lot. We'll have a parking lot day. DJ from the roof, city. The manager was correct. This has went through a series of meetings. We have an overseer. Her name is Erin Burke, who watches this thing like a hawk. Nothing gets past her. Nothing gets offered. And she's like, "You got to remember this, this, and this." And she does a very good job at that and makes sure that we hit all the markers. The only issue we normally have, I'll throw Sean Carney under the bus, is the timing of it. He kind of rushes it in at the last minute. We need to set a time limit to when these applications are received by the city, because it takes time for all of our staff to do so and to vet it. I need to get the sheriff's department, different people involved with the K-9 and make sure they're available and to do that. If council wants to do anything, I would say maybe set a time limit of the year of time it's done. May in this city, this time of year, it might be a busier weekend, but I think it brings, in speaking with Mr. Roush earlier, it was, who does it benefit? Only the business. I disagree somewhat. It benefits the city by bringing people in the city. Like every race and run that we do, it brings vitality and people to the city. Listen, maybe people aren't going to come to the city because it's Cinco de Mayo and there's a party in the middle of the street because the taco's putting the party on, but Maybe it does. Maybe they spend a little bit more time here, you know, on the mall, so, or in the area there, so. Any other questions?
No, thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. And really good job with the St. Patrick's Day celebration.
And you guys know all well, I worry about these events, every race, run, every time I have that many people, that capacity of people in the town. So I don't sleep well until it's over. So any event, even this one, I'm going to have my worries and fears, but we're going to make sure we do everything possible to protect the city and the residents and people that come to that event.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief. Okay, anyone else on resolutions this evening? Anyone else on resolutions? Seeing none, we'll close public comment on resolutions.
All right. On to the consent agenda. Council, is there anything you'd like to remove from the consent agenda this evening?
Anything you'd like to remove, council, from the consent agenda? None?
I actually have a recommendation, if you
Okay.
don't mind. There is a copy and paste typo error that needs to be fixed on resolution number 167 that I can explain if you'd like to remove that from the consent agenda.
Do you want to explain it, or should we remove it?
Oh, if we remove it, and then we'll vote, you guys can vote on it separately if you're comfortable, I'll explain
Do I
it.
have a
It's a
motion?
minor, it's just a typo error.
Let's remove 167 from the consent agenda.
It's the rules. It'll be quick.
Good.
Yes, sure.
All right, with that, anything else, council? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes.
All right, so for 167-04-2026, it's a resolution authorizing change order to contract for Convention Hall Theater lighting upgrade. The figures are correct, the title is correct. There is a reference to a Harborview Park improvement in the body of the resolution, so if we can just change, if council's inclined to change any reference to Harborview Park improvement to reference the actual project, which is Convention Hall Theater lighting upgrade.
Do I have a motion to amend Resolution 167?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call? Or, we have a motion to amend, roll call. Thank you.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes. And
And-
do I have a motion on the amended resolution?
So
Make a
moved.
motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes.
Thank you. And then we do have the resolution that was added. It's 187-04-2026, a resolution reauthorizing an auction bid for lease of city-owned property known as a portion of Canning House Lane, Water Tower, located at 830 Canning House Lane in Cape May, New Jersey.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Just for the public's benefit, we are simply re-putting out to bid. This is for the cell phones that are on the water tower at Department of Public Works. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes.
Okay, on to new business, council.
New business, city solicitor?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City manager, any new business?
I just wanted to just follow up on two of the resolutions. One, just to highlight, we did a resolution on Autism Awareness Month in April, just to kind of highlight, sometimes we do the resolutions by consent agenda, and I think one like that just needs a little highlight, call out, and just say that, hey, this month of April is Autism Awareness Month. Obviously, if anybody has a family member with autism, they know that they're going through a family of struggle. So just be aware of that month and just be cognizant of that. And then the other one is Lieutenant Mazza is, we're recognizing him. His walkout is on May 1st at 3:30. So if it's a fun-filled, packed afternoon, you can start here at 3:30 to help walk out Lieutenant Mazza, and then take a quick little bike ride up to the lifeguard building at 4 o'clock for a ribbon cutting. So you can kind of make it a late afternoon, early evening double header for that.
Thank you, and I look forward to that celebration for Lieutenant Mazza. He's done such an excellent job on behalf of the community he loves.
He's going to be missed, and
Yeah.
big shoes to fill for Lieutenant Mazza, of course.
Okay, city clerk.
Many announcements tonight. courtesy of Casey Radigan. So firstly, we want to make sure everybody knows that the city is hiring Department of Public Works. The city's offering on-the-spot interviews on April 29th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the DPW at Canning House Lane, 830 Canning House. Please bring a resume and a photo ID. I have more information if anybody is interested. I know this is on social media. It's on our website. Brian had a much more emphatic message for you all tonight, but you're stuck with me, so my voice came back. Next up, we have the run-through history. I hope I'm not stealing this from Councilmember Bodnar. Coming up on Saturday, May 9th. Registration is $45, and you can contact 884-9591, David Scheffler, if you are interested in signing up for that. I already mentioned, but the ribbon cutting for the Beach Patrol headquarters on May 1st at 4 p.m. We've got the open house meeting at Convention Hall for all the boards, commissions, and advisory committee on Wednesday, May 20th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Convention Hall, free and open to the public, so we really encourage everybody to attend that. And finally, this Friday at 11 a.m., the city's dedicating a Liberty Tree at Lafayette Street Park, and simultaneously, we will actually be dedicating a separate tree. So we've got the Liberty Tree at Lafayette Street Park, and then a separate tree in honor of Jay Schatz and his service to the Shade Tree Commission over the years.
And that's obviously an honor for Arbor Day. We're doing those plantings.
The facility that Jay Schatz is at, we'll bring him to the event.
He'll be attending, yes.
Very nice.
And that's it, council.
Okay, council members. Councilmember Baldwin?
Sure, just a couple of quick things. Again, congratulations to Lieutenant Mazza. Jazz Festival and Blues, May 15th through May 17th in the city, and it'll be in quite a few different places throughout the city. So if anybody's interested, look at the Exit Zero Jazz Festival, a good time. The last thing is the HPC Award celebration. It's going to be on May 13th. I know I've mentioned it quite a bit here, but it's open to the public. It is going to be held at the Chalfont from 7 till 9 on May the 13th. There are going to be awards presented to anybody who's come in front of the HPC for different categories on their applications and how they executed their projects, as well as leadership and stewardship awards. So we're really looking forward to that.
Very cool.
Okay. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bodnar?
Tomorrow is going to be the first beach cleanup on our Cape May beaches. They're held once a month, but tomorrow's will be at 3 p.m. at Poverty Beach. All you need to do is show up. All the supplies will be provided to you, and it really does help keep our beaches clean, and these are always good events. Additionally, on May 2nd, we've got a lot going on in Cape May, you know that? On May 2nd, the native plant sale is going to be taking place at the Nature Center in Cape May. They're going to be offering a lot of different trees and native plants there. The people there really know what they're talking about as well, so you can get great advice as far as on the plants that they are selling, as well as getting a great deal on plants there. And I want to add my congratulations and thanks to Lieutenant Mazza also. I mean, 25 years of service in the same community. You make an impact, and he has made an impact here. He's part of the Chiefs leadership team. I know he's done a lot as far as with policy and some procedures in Cape May, and he's made his mark in showing the professionalism and in our police department, as well as the quality of the staff. So congratulations to him. Best wishes for his future, and hopefully he buys his own drone now, because I know, Chief, you're losing a drone operator, and I know Chris really likes operating that drone. So hopefully he has his own toy.
That's Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple of things. One, have been down to the lifeguard station. Everyone, please come out. It really looks fabulous, and I think that the the guards and the staff there are going to be really excited to get in there and see. It should be pretty well buttoned up by the end of this week with the contractor, who's done a really great job and worked all through the winter months to get it done in time. Also, shout out to Public Works. Internally, inside, they made 5 guard stands over the winter months. They've got 2 of them out on the beach in front of the lifeguard station, and these things look fabulous. They're really very well done, craftsmanship and painting, so you'll get to see those also. And then Paul and I did a visit to Harborview, and it's coming along. I kept teasing him, telling him all I see is a big pile of dirt, but they're actually down there working really hard. And we're hoping that we're going to have that ribbon cutting sometime in June. So stay tuned.
Yeah, the pile of dirt is just so high you can't see them behind the pile of dirt working.
Councilman Meyer?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to also congratulate and thank Chris Mazza for all his service to the city of Cape May.
My oversight, thank you for reminding me, Councilman. Yes, thank you, Lieutenant Mazza, for your service.
Yeah. Thank you, Lieutenant Mazza, and he certainly cared so much for this community. So he will definitely be missed. Just two quick updates. First, I want to thank the Department of Public Works. It's always this time of year where the city is really starting to look beautiful, and they're doing a really nice job getting everything ready. So please pass our thanks on to Eric and all the staff. And also just recognize we had the Lieutenant Governor over the weekend at the Whitesboro Gala. I actually didn't even know he was coming, so that was nice to have him. And he sends his regards to all of City Council and administration. So thank you. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any and all matters, please come to the microphone. State your name and address.
Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. Quick question. What's the color of our seawall on Beach Avenue going to be? I see we have a few colors down near the Cove, and then another couple of colors at Madison.
You want to put your vote in?
Yeah, the one in Madison that has the signpost for parking regulations. It would be, looking at the one on the right-hand side.
Okay.
It makes no difference to me
Okay.
what the color is, as long as it's somewhat similar to what the concrete color would be, but consistent through the town. The
Right.
patchwork is not frankly acceptable when you look at the amount of money and effort that's been put forth for that promenade. The color needs to be done. Please don't wait until we get further in the season.
Thank you. There's some of us up here that'll be very happy to hear that, others that are still deciding, so thank you. Thank you.
What is the color going to be?
That's a great question.
To be determined.
TBD. Yeah. And also, in all seriousness, including, HPC advice and others, so. Hi, Roz.
Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. I'm sure you all attended the Zoom meeting for the Jacob Jones this last week. I was really pleasantly surprised. I really thought they went back to the drawing board. It was really great that they listened to the residents. I feel as though my issues were always location, size, and material. All of those had been revamped. So it was a pleasure and a surprise to hear it all. Although my first choice would be the World War II monument at the Point. I believe in the spirit of compromise always, and I feel as though this is a good compromise. But I would like, if the council meets with the committee before the May meeting that they suggested, I would like for you to ask them if they've thought about the sides of the memorial are going to be, they proposed honeysuckle and bayberry. Both honeysuckle and bayberry are pollinators, and especially honeysuckle. they attract bees like crazy. So I don't know whether, they're thinking that, a lot of people have bee allergies. And anytime, like usually honeysuckle, like I have honeysuckle, but it's on the side of a driveway. So there's not a lot of traffic, people traffic. But since there will be a lot of, traffic there as far as people going in and out of the memorial, I'm not sure how the honeysuckle may, if that's the best choice there with the bees. Certainly a beautiful one. And then the other thing is, when you meet with them, I think you need to give them a firm commitment on maintenance. Since this is now proposing to be a live memorial with the honeysuckle, bayberry, et cetera, instead of a brick and mortar, I think it's going to need a lot more maintenance. And so I encourage you to get a firm commitment that the foundation would be responsible for the maintenance. Honeysuckle grows very fast, so it's going to, for it to maintain the beauty that they are proposing, I do think it's going to need a lot of maintenance that they would have to occur. So those 2 points about the bees and about the maintenance, if you meet with them ahead of time, I'd appreciate that maybe you think about those 2 things.
Is there a
Again,
native
it was-
vine? Is the idea of, they want a vine, is that the idea? Like a cover?
Want some kind of a shelter,
Yeah.
something that provides.
Would you suggest a native vine that would replace honeysuckle?
No,
Okay, yeah.
no, I don't.
No, I understood.
But
Yeah.
I love the concept. Oh, I just
Yeah,
love
sure,
the concept
exactly.
of it being living.
Right,
You know.
right, okay.
But-
We'll look into it.
Maybe
You
the
know,
Environmental
think
Commission
about
can,
bees.
maybe the Environmental Commission can
Great.
give some input on
Okay.
Perfect.
a
All right,
recommendation.
thank you.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on Roz's statement, I had a discussion with the committee on that issue of maintenance, just kind of saying, hey, when you come back to council to make your presentation, knowing that that is been a consistent theme, one of the consistent themes that the residents have been asking about. My understanding is, as part of their fundraising, not only is it a capital fund to build the construction, but it's also, they're going to raise enough money to create, like, I'll say, an endowment to have a maintenance fund to cover annual or seasonal maintenance of the facility. So I think hopefully their final presentation to council will include that, but that's my understanding, is that's part of what their fundraising is for that purpose.
Was there also a discussion about a letter of understanding between the city and the foundation?
Well,
Maybe premature, but I would just put it out.
I think that would obviously have to happen
Okay, all
for something like that to take place
Okay.
within the city right away. I can only assume that we would have to do some sort of
Okay.
memorandum of understanding and have some sort of agreement to do that. That would go without saying.
Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, everybody.